The core includes not only the front side of the body, but the right side, the left side, and the back body. And especially these side muscles and the back muscles are so important to strengthen the back. We'll be practicing poses that affect the full circumference of the core. We'll start standing. Come to the top of the mat and stand tall. Take your arms up and back. Take your hands to the mat. Step back to either downward facing dog or all fours or child's pose. Just take a few moments before your practice. You can pedal your legs, move your pelvis side to side. Any variations you wish in downward facing dog, just in order to create a little bit more awareness about your breath, about movement, about your foundation. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe in deep and out long. Let's all meet in downward facing dog. Take your right foot in the air, bend your right knee, activate your toes so you've got a nice strong engagement. Look forward and step your right foot right between your hands. Place your hands right above your right knee, bow forward. Come to a crescent lunge, lift your arms up. If you'd like to bend your back knee slightly to create a little bit more engagement of the back leg, do so. Release your hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Attune to your breath. Take your left leg up, way high. Bend your left knee. Keep a nice lifting quality of your right armpit. Step your left foot right between your hands. Take your hands right above your knee. Reach up. Feel free to bend the back knee. That creates a little bit more energy to your pose. Find the breath to create this fullness from the pubic bone to the sternum. Just feel a nice length there in the front side of the body. Release your hands. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach up and back. Take your hands alongside your feet. Step back through either all fours position or plank. Lower yourself down to the mat. Once on the mat, reach your hands straight back, palms facing down. Lift your chest up and release down. Two more. Lift up, release down. One more. Lift up, release down. Come to a Sphinx position. Spread your fingers. Draw your heart forward as you take the heads of your arm bones back. Now exhale and look in toward your heart as you lift up the tops of the thighs. The navel draws in toward the spine. Slowly take the tops of the thighs down, the pubic bone down, belly down. Reach your heart forward. Lift up from the waist to the pubic bone, to the tops of the thighs. Keep your shoulders right over your elbows. Lower yourself down. Pull from your fingers to your elbows, pull back, reach your heart forward. One more time. Press down to lift the pubic bone up. Draw from the belly back. Now lower down. Place your hands right alongside your ribs. Come to your fingertip top position. Rise up in a baby cobra. Soften down. Again. Lift up and down. Lift up and down. Come to all fours position. In all fours position, reach your right leg straight back. Reach your left arm forward. Balance yourself. Draw your right knee and left elbow in toward each other. Expand out. Left elbow, right knee draws in to expand out. Again, left elbow to the right knee to expand out. Release your hand down. Tuck your toes under. Lift up to downward facing dog. Lift your heels high and just move the pelvis over to the right to expand through the left side ribs. Come to tiptoes again. Move your heels to the left. Tiptoes again. Come down to all fours position. In this tabletop position, reach your left leg out. Your right arm forward, the fingers spread. Bend your elbow, bend your leg, draw in, reach out. Hug in, expand out. Draw in to expand out. Release your hand down, your knee down, tuck your toes under, lift up, downward facing dog again. Lift your heels high, bend your knees slightly, shift your weight over toward your right side. Come back to the center position with the knees bent. Swivel on your feet to just come to the left side. Shift back to center. Walk your feet up to your hands. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach up and back. Take your hands down to the mat. Step your right foot back. Come to crescent lunge again. Rise up. Your knee can be bent on your back leg. Take your arms up. Make fist with your hands and as if you're hanging on to a pull-up bar. Bend your elbows. Draw your elbows down toward your low ribs. Inhale, reach them up, Spread your fingers. Reach your gaze up, your hands back and your gaze back. Release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach up and back. Exhale, take your hands alongside your feet. Step your left leg back. Come to a crescent lunge again. Again, optional. Back knee can be bent to create more engagement. Reach your arms up. Make fist with your hands as if pulling your body weight up to an imaginary bar. Draw your elbows down instead, all the way down toward your waist. Reach back up. Spread your fingers. Look up. Reach back. Release your hands down to the mat. Step your back foot forward. Place both hands to your low back and rise up. Just pause and have a nice fullness to your breath. A nice engagement. Inhale, take your arms up and back. Exhale, come to the mat. Step back to a plank position or tabletop, your choice. Lower yourself down to the mat. Take your arms in a cactus pose with the elbows roughly the same line up as your shoulders. On the next in-breath, lift your arms up, lift your chest up. Exhale, come down. 2 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. On the last one, bend your knees. Press your knees down as you inhale. Rise up. Exhale, draw down. Draw your feet down. Come to a Sphinx position. Draw your heart forward, head to the arm bones, draw back. Lift the pubic bone, the navel, the lower ribs up. Exhale, draw down. Place your right forearm so that your fingers are pointing toward the left edge of your mat. Roll over to your right side. Bend your knees so that your feet are planted nicely. Make a fist with your right hand. Take your left hand to the waist. Lift your pelvis up and draw it down. Lift up and draw down. It's your option. If you like to straighten your legs, it's a little bit more challenging, but if you'd like to try it, lift up and draw down. So whether it's with bent legs or straight legs, your choice. This time try to lift your left side ribs up as high as possible to create a nice arch, and exaggerate that by taking your left arm up and over your head to create more length there. Release your pelvis down, release your hands back to the mat with your arms in that cactus pose again. Bend your knees again. Lift your arms up. Lift your knees up this time. Keep your toes very active and release down. Come to tabletop position and either downward facing dog or child's pose, your choice. And any variation that you choose, feel free to have this as a pause between the poses, the side forearm plank poses. Take your attention to your breath. When we come to the mat in yoga, we focus on our body, the shifts that the practice creates in our physical body starts to affect our mental well-being and our behavior. Notice what's shifting in your physical body. We've done some things to engage the side body, to engage the front body, and to get tone in the back muscles in this area of the core. So the full circumference of the core we've been working on. If this is too long a hold in downward facing dog, feel free to come to a child's pose. But this is just a time to reflect, to regroup, to gather your thoughts about the practice. To reflect on your breath, how you can create more length and fullness on each cycle of the breath, and even the pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. Come to a plank position again and lower yourself all the way to the mat. Come to the Sphinx pose, forearms pressing, your heart is moving forward. Take your left arm at the diagonal with the fingers pointing toward the right edge. Bend your knees. Press the outside of your left foot. Lift your pelvis up and draw it down. Lift up and take it down. If you'd like to straighten your legs on this side just to see how that's going, feel free to do that, to lift your pelvis up from there and take it down. Now we'll add the arms, so your choice. You can do straight legs or bent legs. As you lift your pelvis up, also lift your right arm up and over. Just feel a nice fullness to the right side ribs as you hold the pose. And release your hand down. Come to the Sphinx pose again with your forearms pressing. Inhale, keep your knees down but lift your pubic bone up. The tops of the thighs up. Shoulders stay right over your elbows or thereabouts. Now come on down. Make your way either to tabletop or downward facing dog again. Take your attention to your breath. From tabletop, if you wish to come to a child's pose, go ahead and do that, so that we can focus on the back body strength, the back body alertness. Look forward. If you're in child's pose, lift up to all fours so that you can step your right foot right between your hands. Parallel your feet. Turn toward the long edge of the mat. With your knees bent, place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. With your right toes turned out, take your arms up, reach up, Make fists with your hands. Pull. Strong action to bring your elbows down to your sides. Take your right forearm down to the top of the thigh. Extend your left fist over your head. Now just spring into action with your fingers. Spread your fingers. Inhale, rise up. Straighten your right, bend your left leg. Reach your arms up for a nice length to the side body. Grab hold of the imaginary bar. Bend your elbows. Draw your elbows down, all the way down to your floating ribs. Keep that. Take your forearm down to the top of the left thigh and reach your right arm over your head. Now explode the fingers. Just spread your fingers so that you get a nice tone in the muscles. Keep your back leg strong and secure so that when you rise up, you can do that with ease. Release your hands. With your feet parallel, heel toe your feet so you're slightly narrower in your wide stance. But turn your toes out, bend your knees. See if you can come down, maybe all the way down to the mat with ease. And once you're down on the mat, lie on your back. With your hands to your low belly, breathe in to just feel how the hands expand away from each other on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, apply a little pressure and release fully on the exhale breath. Take your arms up and over your head. Extend your right leg up as if you're trying to make a footprint on the ceiling. Your choice. You can keep your left knee bent or straighten the left leg if you feel like you're not smashing your low back to the mat. See if you can keep a nice curve in the lumbar spine. Now take the right foot just halfway down or thereabouts. Keep the leg very engaged. Now take it halfway down again. And notice if the low back starts popping up and your floating ribs lift up, but see if you can keep the same curve as you go even lower, taking the right foot a little bit lower to the mat and all the way down. Bend your knees again, plant your feet, take your left leg up, spread your toes. Your choice again, you can straighten the right leg or keep the foot pressing on the floor as you take the leg halfway down and hold it. And you approximate what's halfway down again. And you're aware if the low belly is lifting up, you're trying to keep a nice tone there, and halfway again, foot is just barely off the mat, and release the foot down. Bend both knees again. Lift your feet up off the mat with the inner big toes together. Take your knees nice and wide apart as if your hands are making prints on the ceiling. Spread your fingers, reach up toward the ceiling, lift your head up, lift your heart up. As you do, can you also lift your tailbone up and release down. Take your arms overhead, take your knees together, but shift your knees over toward your right side. With the knees slightly toward the right side, take your hands to the outside of the left knee. Again, as if you're making a nice handprint on the ceiling. Lift your head up, lift your chest up. Can you even lift your tailbone a little bit? And release down. Take your arms overhead. Take your knees wide apart. Just keep your inner big toes touching, inner heels touching. Take your arms up again toward the ceiling. Spread your fingers. Lift your head up, your chest up, your shoulders up. Lift your tailbone up and release down. Take your hands over your head. Now shift your knees toward the left side. Hug the inner knees in. Take your arms up to the outside of the right knee. Inhale, head lifts up, heart lifts up, shoulders are lifted. You stay engaged as you lift your tailbone up and you release down. Take your arms over your head. Take your knees wide apart again. Take your hands right between your knees. On the next in-breath, lift up. Lift your tailbone up. Exhale. Take your arms over your head. Take your feet in this nice lengthening quality as if going in Savasana. But we won't be going in Savasana. Take your hands right behind your head with the fingers interlaced. Lift your head up and look toward your toes. And take your head down. Now lift your toes up and lift your head up. And release your feet down and release your head down. Now take the hands in front of your heart in a prayer position. Lift your feet up, lift your head up, look toward your toes, and release your feet down and your head down. Release your arms to your sides. Bend your knees, plant your feet. Take your hands right at your knees. In those last few movements, you might have felt the weakness of your low back muscles. So see if we can gain a little strength in those muscles before Savasana. So with your palms right at your kneecaps, push your kneecaps into your palms. Bend your elbows just slightly so you have a little bit more action in your arms. Press your knees down with your arms, but lift your knees into the palms of the hands. Just notice how this has a nice engaging effect on the muscles that create a nice lumbar arch. Now this move side to side oh so slowly, just so that you can bring your awareness to the pelvis, to the lumbar curve. You're moving very slowly. Before you come back to the center position, Release your feet, but see if you can keep that nice curve that you refined as you straighten your legs, you straighten your arms, you close your eyes. You find a nice ease with your breath. Keep your breath expansive and bring your awareness to the expansiveness of the front side of the body, just as the diaphragm moves all the way from the chest downward. Thank you for joining me in this practice where we focus on strengthening and lengthening the full circumference of the core area of our body. Namaste.